Hey everyone, so this is a continuation from the last video. The last video we learned about how to factor out a GCF, and that's a really important skill because we use that skill in order to solve equations when we have a GCF, okay? So to solve a quadratic equation using the GCF, you must use the zero product property. To use this property, you may need to rearrange the equation to get all of the terms set equal to 0. So it's really important we get everything to one side. So equation equals 0, okay? So when we practice these, you'll notice that's our first step. Make sure everything's on one side, okay? When we do that, we want to keep x squared term positive. So wherever we've got the term with the squared, we're going to make that or keep that positive. So if I look at a, I actually want to change a. So if you're using the notes, just make sure you change it to 4x squared minus 2x equals 0. Okay? First thing we want to do is look for our GCF. And that's how we're going to solve these equations, is by a GCF. So if I look at 4 and 2, I know the GCF is a 2. And then if I look at my variables, I've got x squared and x. The GCF between x squared and x is an x. When I take a 2x out of 4x squared, I'm going to be left with 2, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2. X out of x squared is just an x. A 2x out of 2x, I'll be just left with 1. Divide anything by itself, you'll be left with 1 equals 0. Now, this is the line that we learned in section 7.5. This is the zero product property. As soon as I see terms being multiplied together, this term and this term, we set them each equal to 0. And then I solve these two little equations for x. Divide by 2, x equals 0 is one of my answers. Add 1, divide by 2, x equals 1/2 is my other solution. Two answers, okay? Let's look at C. Is everything on one side? No. So I need to subtract that 10z over. When I do that, I'll have 5z squared minus 10z equals 0. Now I'm going to look for my GCF. 5 and 10, I know the GCF is going to be a 5. Z squared and a z, I can just take one z out. 5z squared, take out a 5z, I'll be left with 1z. 10, take out of 5, I'll be left with 2. Z out of z, I'm just left with 1. As soon as I see two factors being multiplied together, I do the zero product property. Set each of those factors equal to 0. Divide by 5. My answer is z equals 0. Add the 2. Z equals 2. Those are my two answers. Let's look at B. Is everything on one side? No. I'm going to subtract the 18y because I want to keep that y squared positive. That 6 is positive. That's what I want to keep positive. Subtract the 18y over. So I'm going to have 6y squared minus 18y. And now I'm looking for my GCF. 6 and 18. My GCF is 6. Y squared and y. The GCF is y. Take out a 6y from each of these. 6y squared, take out a 6y, I'm left with y. 18y, take out a 6y, I'm left with 3. Two quantities being multiplied together. I'm ready for the zero product property. Solve each of these little equations for the variable. There's my answers. And then let's check out D. Is everything on one side? No. I'm going to add the 6g over to keep the 4g squared positive. I'm going to have 4g squared plus 6g equals 0. What's my GCF here? If I see 4 and 6, I know I could take out a 2. G squared and g, I can take out a g. So 4, take out a 2, I'm left with 2. G squared, take out a g, I'm left with g. 6, take out a 2, I'm left with 3. As soon as I see two factors, I'm ready for the zero product property. And then I can solve both of these for G. I'll subtract 3, and then I'm going to divide by 2. 2 steps in that one. Okay? And I've got one more problem here we're going to check out. It says a female athlete tests her vertical jump by jumping straight in the air. Her height y in feet after t seconds can be modeled by this equation. How many seconds is she in the air? So if we want to think about this, she's jumping up and she's coming back down. The y value is her height in feet after t seconds can be modeled. So when the height is 0, where is she? On the ground. So I need to set this equation equal to 0 because that is where she's on the ground. How many times is she on the ground? She's on the ground at the beginning and at the end. That's why I'm going to get 2 answers here. So I'm going to solve this by taking out the GCF. 16 and 12, I can take out a 4, a -4, and they both have a t in common. And so when I take that out, I'll be left with 4t minus 3. I've got factors that are being multiplied together. I'll do the zero product property. Solve each of these for t. I'm going to divide by -4. T equals 0 is one of my answers. Add the 3 over. Divide by 4, 3/4 is my other answer. Notice I've got 2 answers and they make sense. This is at the very beginning when t equals 0, and then this is time 3/4 seconds. That's my answer. How many seconds is she in the air for? That's how long from the start to the finish. Okay? Great job, guys. We are going to practice this more this week.